I have a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. Activate. Hello, everyone. It is me, Nightlord131, and hope you guys are doing well today. I have a lot of cool stuff to talk about, and before we commence with all that, let me just put away some stuff, and then we will commence. Just give me a sec. I need to put away my stuff here. I need the bones. I need this away. Well, actually, I could use this. I need this for my equipment. Just give me a sec. I am very excited because I just today bought tickets to see the legendary Reverend Horton Heat alongside the Surferjettes, and I'm really excited. I am very excited. I'm going to see them during the summer, and yeah. Let's just say I'm like very thrilled about this, so yeah. Just give me a sec. Alright, let's see. Alright. Oh, let me just throw this in there. Alright. Perfect. Alright. Let's go down here first. I hope you guys are doing really well today. I had a pretty long day, and the video, how you say, the CD video is complete, and I will be uploading this VOD over to YouTube right after this stream, and then tomorrow, well, how do you say this? And when I say tomorrow, I actually mean today, later on, that this, the vinyl, the CD video will be coming out, the CD video will already be out, probably like a bit later, but, I'm trying to talk in both the present and the future, kinda, because when these VODs go out, you know, it's like a snapshot in time, and I try to at least talk in a way that, you know, so it's not like fully trapped in time, you know. But I really hope you guys enjoy it. It's a really cool video, if I do say so myself. Nope. I pull clips from both Danzig as well as acid bath in the cramps. And I'm going to be very honest with you guys. Alright, let's just make sure. Yeah, my thing is working. Awesome. Gonna be very honest with you. I was reading, well, not just reading, but just seeing, like, I say, like, Glenn Danzig. He's been cracking down on people showing clips of, like, both Misfits, Saw / Samhain, as well as, from his solo career. Like, he's been doing this for a little bit of a while now. And I just hope that I don't get punished. I hope that Glenn doesn't go after me, but we'll see. But, yeah. Alright, let me just throw this here. Throw that. There we go. Oh, by the way, if any of you guys have ever, like, never listened to, like, how do you say? Just give me a sec. If any of you guys have never listened to the Reverend Horton Heat, I really recommend you guys do. Their music is very fun. Like, I was humming one of their songs before the stream, actually. And I was thinking about saying, like, the name of the song, because it is it's very infectious. But probably not, because you guys wouldn't know, maybe, and that's fine. But, oh. There we go. The song's called It's Martini Time. If you just look up, like, the Reverend Horton Heat, and then look up It's Martini Time, then you'll be like, oh, okay. Ooh, we need to take care of the pig population here. There you go. Perfect. Also, the Surfin' Jets is actually a really fun band too, actually. They are a, how do you say? A surf rock band from, how do you say? From Toronto, Canada, actually. So, yeah. Going to be very fun. I do like myself. Well, it's going to be my first time not just being at a psychobilly / rockabilly show, but it's also going to be like my first time for like surf rock. Which, any of you guys who've never heard of surf rock before, it's an interesting musical genre. If you ever look up like surf rock music, and then you listen to it, you'll be like, oh, this is surf rock. So, yeah. Yeah. It's very good. Very fun stuff. Whoa. Oh, well. Let's grab that. Hold up. Let's see. What? Why can't I reach through the fence? Oh well. Oh well. Alright, let's put this away. Just put that right here, and we'll just put this right here too. We'll also put this right here. Put this carrots in here. We'll just put all of this right here. Alright, just give me a sec. We're going to go into creative for just 1 sec. Oh, no, wait. They a little bit changed all the, how do you say? I just need to grab some protection. There we go. I like having golems as, like, you know, another way of, like, defense, and also as, like, bodyguards if I do ever need bodyguards. So, you know, that will be it. So, I'll put my golems in here. So if I ever do need some extra protection and bodyguards, basically, I will have some additional ones. So just give me a sec. It's only just me, and then, like, I can get really overwhelmed with, like, these creatures, with mobs. So I do try to, you know, stock up, but I don't do it all the time. So, yeah. Oh. Just give me a sec. Alright. I think that's enough. Survival. There we go. Okay. Let's go and let's actually get some sleep. Some shut-eye. Alright. Let's see. Well, wait a minute. There we go. We need some coal. Yeah. This will go pretty well, if I do say so myself. Wow, is that it? There. Wait, you know what? I do need... Let's take the rest of this. And then we'll have some extra torches. Here, let's just use the rest of this. There we go. Okay, let's go. We're gonna go grab some more cobblestone. And today we will find a better location for cobblestone. I think we pretty much exhausted the previous mine that we were using. And, you know, that's completely, you know, one thing that we've done. Like, just so you guys can see, in case nobody was here for the previous stream or YouTube video, if you're watching this over on YouTube and can go look at the older stuff, but this is it. As you can see, we have just carved this this entire area right here, and now like we've also taken care of this, so there's literally not that much space to like continue excavating here. Maybe in the future we'll come back here and do something with it, but with this area I could pretty much say we are good. So let's go try to find a new place. Actually, what about a little bit closer to Mount Utopia, actually? I want like an easy access place, so that will be like, you know, a priority. But yeah, let's see. Let's see. Ooh. Ooh. Come on. Hit me. Come on. Alright, let's see. Ooh. Oh, there we go. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, come on. Oh. Oh, no. Get him. I'm sorry, golems. Here, let's just try to get out of here first off. Oh, come on. Deal with them. Ooh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Eee. Ah. What? Ah. Okay. Let's try to head back there. Here we go. By the way, I watched the final final episode of season 2 of Fallout, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Usually, I give like a good perspective on shows, but this final episode was like not actually that good. Like everything leading up to it was fantastic, but like I didn't really like the execution of it personally. Like, yeah, that's the one thing. Like the cliffhanger was not like that really satisfying to me personally. Here, you know what? We're gonna make this the cave of interest. So we're going to leave these lights here to help us in the future find this place. Oh. So that will be the plan. There we go. Why isn't an ocelot all the way out here? Okay. Oh yeah, that was just because I put the ocelots in this area. They're not natively in this area. But you know, I did put them there, yes. Oop. Aha! Someone help. We built this city, if you know what I mean. If you know, you know. Oh, yes, definitely. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well today. Oh. Ooh. Okay, here we go. There we go. Here. We're going to try to get these golems out of here. Ooh. I'm sorry, Golem. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! Okay, Golem. Now we have to take out another one. Uh-oh. Okay, just give me a sec. What on earth? How's the road? We still need to get some resources, but yeah, we're down here in this monstrous cave. But yeah, like, yeah. This is a little bit of a distraction, but you know, I do plan on you know, working to get all this taken care of. So yeah. Oh, there we go. That's the one thing. Go ahead. Oh my gosh, look at all those zombies and creepers. Excuse me. Just give me a sec. Alright, let's try to take care of this. Ooh. Creeper! I need a golem! Ooh. Oh my gosh. What on earth? How am I gonna get up? Oh my. Let's send some guys down there. They'll take care of all those guys. Let's get our health back up a little bit. Because this is insane. Actually, let's head back up here. Oh. Hee 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 hee. Hold up. Perfect. Here, just give me a sec. Whoop. I guess we'll make this the mine. We will make this the mine where we will get everything we need. We need all the, like, cobblestone we can get. And you know what? Let's try to light this up. That'll be today's real, like, plan for at least this area, or this part of the stream. We're going to light this place up so that we can, you know, work with, you know, less monster interactions. There we go. Uh-oh. Alright, let's do this. There you go. Down into the dark you go. Oh my gosh, look at this. It's insane that this place even exists. We have this giant trench area, essentially. Yeah, we'll probably just get our resources, like, right here. There we go. Here. Let's just do this now. The more resources we get, the more we'll get to the bottom here. And we'll use that as a way of, like, getting down and getting some more resources. My goodness, there's so much coal here. But, yeah. But how has everyone been? I'm just excited for, this, weekend. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's gonna be very fun. There we go. We can sacrifice these to the cave. Hopefully the cave allows us to live. Oh! Oh. Oh. Immediately I said that. Now the cave tried to kill me. Okay. Yeah, let's just keep going. Oh. Oh, okay. Apparently, yeah. Oh well. We can work to get all this other stuff. All this coal is going to be very useful. Fuck. Oh. No. Nah. Darn it. This hasn't been a fruitful stream, it seems, when it comes to getting resources. Maybe that cave is just not a good place to go to. You know what I mean? It's more or less a death trap. Ooh. And that's the entrance. Well, one of the entrances. Wait a minute. Give me a sec. There we go. We're here. Alright, come on. Now, next time that we try to get into this cave, we're not going to die or anything, so. You know what? Just to make this area even better, like, you know, to protect ourselves from, you know, falling down to our death that way, let's try to actually, you know, carve down this area. I think that'll be a good option. Because that just seems like the best option, personally. And plus, if monsters try to spawn in this area, they won't be able to if there isn't anything to stand on. Perfect. I don't know if I should ask this because I feel like I'm going to get into some serious trouble if I do. But I'm going to ask it, alright? How do you guys feel about Lilo and Stitch? I'm genuinely curious. I'm a little bit treading on some dangerous ground here when I bring this up because I have a thing to say regarding Lilo and Stitch. Stitch specifically. Oh boy. I can just feel the amount of like anger of what how people are going to take this because I do know it's a popular thing and you know, I'm gonna try to tread carefully. Oop. I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. Like, I've met like not everyone who's a fan of that. No, there are some lovely people, of course. But I have met like some people and it's been like a little bit of a red flag when I interact with people who are fans of that uh, franchise personally, and I don't know. Like when I think of like Lilo and Stitch, like that property, um, as in like the pop culture, intellectual pop property. There's a certain thing that reminds me of like certain people that I've met in my life, and like for certain reasons, like I've had like a bit of some bad experiences, and I know that you can't always blame what a person enjoys to be like, a red flag, but especially for something like Lilo and Stitch. But like, I'm gonna be really honest with you. Like, I kind of associate Stitch with some like negative. Uh, it's just as a red flag. Not everyone, like I know some people in my personal life who are lovely, of course, and they like Lilo and Stitch. But like, I don't know. So, yeah. Actually, what do you guys consider red flags for you guys? It can be almost anything. Like if it's something a bit, how do you say this? It can just be almost anything where like you're like, "Oh, this is a bit of a red flag that I avoid with people." Or you're a little bit more cautious. And this also goes for the people over on YouTube as well. Comment what's like a red flag of yours that you are like more cautious about when it comes to people. I've already said mine with the Stitch specifically thing. Just because like you know yeah. That's one of my red flags. If like I have like a person that I have met, and like again, like nothing against the people that like Stitch as a character, but I still like have like met people where it's like it kind of makes it a bit hard to be like, oh yeah, you're fun to hang out with, but then like that one thing comes out, and then you're like, oh, I should have stuck with my gut a little bit on this one. So, yeah. When it comes to like other red flags out there, like I'm not saying like the more serious ones, like how like when I mean like serious ones, I mean like you know, how people view human rights and like other stuff like that. Like they don't see, like they don't treat like people without they treat. I say this. They don't believe in treating everyone with human dignity and respect and like all that kind of stuff, and they're like hateful. No, I'm not talking about like that. No, every person out there should reject that, obviously. But I'm saying like something somewhat like not in that kind of space. Something you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. For me, it's kind of like a person that's a bit too preppy. You know? That's like a kind of thing I kind of avoid because I don't know, it's like not something I particularly like can really relate with, if you know what I mean. Hmm. All right. Let's see what else. I'm trying to think. Hmm. There we go. Perfect. Um. Ooh. Perfect. Yeah. No. Honestly, I've just been great personally. Very happy. Nothing really negative to say. I'm just. Yeah. I try to stay in that kind of positive mindset. Yeah. I also had an interesting day at work today. Yeah. Just mm, yeah, just kept on working. Nothing really particularly interesting. However, I was actually listening to a couple interesting stuff about like werewolves, which I've kind of gotten. Well, I've always had an interest in monsters, obviously, but when it comes to werewolves, I do like them, but they're not always particularly like um, high up there on my personal like. Ooh, I really do like these guys kind of vibe, like how I treat vampires. But I've kind of decided to like you know dedicate some more of my interest into like you know werewolves and such. Like a really great werewolf movie besides the Wolfman movie from the 40s. Like there's this one movie from the 80s called An American Werewolf in London. You probably have all heard that name or you know stuff like that if you are interested in movies or horror in general. But like yeah, no, honestly, like there's a lot of good, well, interesting werewolf um media out there. I kind of do wish that with Minecraft, for example, like I do wish that like they have certain creatures that are represented from like and, like certain creatures they've have already like I say this. There are certain creatures that they have depicted, obviously, like the zombie, yeah. And, of course, the Ender Dragon being another major, and I mean major, one as well. But I know they exist in, like, mobs, but I would love to see, like, some werewolves introduced into Minecraft at some point. I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah. I've actually, you know, I've always had, like, I say, an interest in creating stories. And I even used to write stories as well of differing qualities, obviously. But, like, I've kind of had, like, I kind of had, like, an idea of, like, of a werewolf idea, like a werewolf story. Maybe, like, I don't see myself really writing it, no. Well, as a screen, well, how do you say, as a, like, for, like, the screen, like, with a screenplay and everything, with a script, yeah, I could see myself doing that. But, like, I've kind of had, like, well, it's, I say this, some of my, like, some of the inspiration for this idea came from Supernatural, the television show. And unfortunately, with, like, that show, well, before I talk about my idea, Supernatural unfortunately has done, and I mean a real bad time, of actually, like, depicting certain creatures, and they just, like, fall flat on its face, like dragons, for example, and Supernatural. Unfortunately, they just made them into dudes with, fire hands, and you didn't actually see dragons. And they did the same with, phoenixes and, well, a phoenix. There was only one phoenix. And then, like, werewolves being the worst example. That's one of my, gripes with Supernatural. But no, I was a little bit inspired by Supernatural for this idea. And, if I had the time, money, and, hands to help, I would love to make this idea. But I've kind of came up with the idea of, like, a werewolf movie where there is, how do you say, in 21st century America, in the rural parts of the United States, like, maybe, like, it kind of gets a bad rap, but Appalachia. I was thinking about, like, if any of you guys know about, like, Mr. Barlow from Stephen King's Salem's Lot. He comes in, well, he has a caretaker that brings him into this area, and, like, there's a lot of mystery behind Mr. Barlow. I've kind of had, like, the idea of, like, this, how do you say, rich family coming into this area, and people start going missing, and it is a family of werewolves that are, well, actually not like a biological, like, blood family, but are, matter of fact, like a wolf pack. And, like, they kind of prey to how do you say this? They kind of pray to this like werewolf god creature that they believe is like the origin point of werewolves, of all different kinds of werewolves. And I've been thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, that would be really cool. And like this werewolf god would be like, how do you say, would be known in the world as one of the great beasts of the primal earth. Which the primal earth, well, again, some of you guys may be like, what's this guy like babbling about? Well, it's all my creation, all my ideas, and I would love to like make a movie about this. And it is a bit grandiose, yeah, but you know, I do like gods and monsters and a whole bunch of different things like that, and you know, that's just how it is. But it, like, if I could make like a series of films on this, I think I would. I would love to. But in my, like, in this like story, this connected universe thing, my idea would be that in the beginning there was, you know, nothing, but then there was the primal earth, and on the primal earth there was, well, this is where like the influence of supernatural comes in, because in Supernatural you have a character named Eve, who is the mother of monsters, and she creates these creatures. Well, how do you say? They're referred to as the alphas in Supernatural, and they're like the first vampire, the first shapeshifter, the first werewolf, the first ghoul. Like, you know, all these monsters, like, that are, how do you say, cursed beings, or, you know, like born monster, they all originate from her. And in my interpretation of this kind of idea, which it's a really rad idea, I would have that there would be these group of gods, okay? And these gods would create the primal earth, and it would be like kind of a Garden of Eden kind of situation. You have all these different creatures, you know, living in this giant area, and like there would be early man, and there would be like, you know, the, how do you say, the ancient great beast, which are like the spawn point of all other creatures. But in my story, the gods wanted they wanted man to rule the earth, and they decided to, you know, give humans, how do you say, super weapons to fight off against, how do you say, these ancient creatures. And eventually, man overtakes these creatures and pushes them to the sideline as they create civilizations across the world. But in my story, one of the primordial beast, this werewolf god, essentially, it's not really it is immortal, and it's also like, you know, considered a god, but it isn't one. But for the sake of this little blab, how you say, like talking thing, I'm just going to call it the werewolf god. The werewolf god would, I say, go into hiding, but try to rebuild its, I say, its population. And it would go to like rural areas to, like, I say, rebuild its population. And I say this. Ooh, we got a lot. Alright. I can get some more later. But, yeah, no, like the other creatures would, do like the same thing as the werewolves. They would travel to rural areas or to other major locations to, help rebuild their populations. And I am saying a lot when it comes to this, and maybe some of you guys will be like, "Hey, I would like to make something about that." Maybe, like you guys can if you want, but if you do, please credit me. But I don't really see that happen because that's how some people are. But no, this is just like something I've been like thinking about, and like, you would have like sea monsters that have been like sleeping. Well, kind of that also too, like this idea also kind of comes from Lovecraft with like Cthulhu, and like with that whole idea, you would have, I say, like these giant beasts slumbering at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. And no, like, human technology had, like, detected them until, like, well, no, this is actually an older idea, too, that I've always wanted to do. But, like, I wanted to write it, but I didn't, like, feel, like, strong enough to actually, like, well, I say, believe in myself writing wise to actually do it. But this idea was, I say this. In this, well, to move away from the werewolf stuff, now I guess I'll talk about this idea. And there would be no way for me to actually make a movie if I were to actually, commit to making stuff like this. But in this idea, the world, like, there's this massive earthquake, and like places like Japan, Australia, like everywhere surrounding the Ring of Fire, which that's a geological, how do you say? If you don't know what the Ring of Fire is, it's a geological area of the world where all these different like underwater volcanoes surround from like Australia all the way through Japan, and from all the way to like um, South America. It's a massive thing. I would really recommend you guys check into it. But yeah, it would be cool if K-pop Demon Hunters had a spin-off called Death Metal Demon Hunters. That would be pretty cool. Yeah. I did see that they released the Saja Boys, I say like skin thing on Fortnite, and that's pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know how that would look, but like I bet it would look pretty cool. Well, maybe I'll talk about that other idea later when it comes to my story stuff. But the werewolf thing would be cool. But you know, I know how do you say this? Snake. You know, it'd be a really cool I say death metal band actually for you know, like if they were to do that personally, like make a demon I say death metal demon hunters thing. It would be pretty cool if that like had like music inspired off of Obituary. That would be pretty cool. Maybe you probably haven't heard of Obituary, but they're a really good band. I would recommend you to check them out. Death metal has like a lot of good like things outside of like Cannibal Corpse and that kind of stuff. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When it comes to like death metal, that's like really awesome, like really sick to listen to. Um, you know, since we're on the topic of death metal now, um, how do you say this? The band Dying Fetus is fantastic. They're considered brutal death metal, and they're, I believe, on tour right now with Slaughter to Prevail, which they are a deathcore band actually. And I got bruises from that show actually, but you know what? It was fun. It was really fun. So, yeah. But how are you doing today, Snake? All right. Good. Dominating reload ranked currently. Oh, that's sick, dude. That is cool. In Fortnite, I assume. Um, yeah. You know, I was thinking about like playing some Fortnite before I leave to Italy, but I'll probably do that when I get back from Italy. Like I will play some like maybe on a stream or something. Like I can take like a small break from Minecraft and then I can just like, you know, play some Fortnite. Yeah, that would be pretty fun. The more I think about it. All right. Oh my goodness, we have. Give me a sec. There we go. Perfectly taken care of. You see this village right here? That's like where we're going to be heading towards. That's the goal. So, yeah. Ooh. Give me a sec. Let's help out our golem. Ooh. Look at that. Here, let's just send more of them down there. Alright. Yeah. What else was I gonna say? Um mm, to kind of go back to like Fallout, like talk about that for a sec. To be honest with you, I really wish that they changed it up. I really do wish like we didn't get like the ending that we did. And like the spoiler alert for the people who haven't watched Fallout or is not caught up. The father actually they say use that like mind altering device thing on himself, so now he's like not really there. So, that's the one thing. But there's also like the one pretty cool thing was like seeing those deadly cockroaches. That was pretty interesting. Wait a minute. There we go. Down. Down. Go down. Down, down, down you go. You know what? Yeah, they can guard me up here. Perfect. All right. Oh my goodness. Look at this place. We should probably like cut down some of these trees, but I don't know. If they get in the way, we'll take care of them. Yeah. But, to go back to like this one idea about the sea monster stuff. In this idea that I was thinking about, like, there's this massive earthquake, and the world scientists are like, where on earth did it come from? And, like, world governments are like scrambling for answers, but there isn't. But eventually, satellite technology eventually helps to uncover that there are these giant, like, organisms with giant beating hearts at the bottom of the sea in the how you say in the Pacific. And so a small group of three like massive like military submarines go to the bottom of the ocean in the Pacific to find these things. But it kind of like this idea takes some influence from like The Shining a little bit, kinda, because like people start going mad because like you have these giant deadly beasts like stalking the people, and like some of these people have like some you know demons essentially, like they're dealing with, in like when it comes to drinking, and like some of these people have like killed people in the I say in their past, and like the monsters, the giant sea monsters, are also telepathic, and they start using their telepathy to mess with the minds of the people, you know, and like start going on a killer rampage. And yeah, that's like one idea I have. I'm not going to tell you like what the ending, it is, obviously, but yeah, it would be interesting. I've also had like I kind of hinted to the idea of making this movie in the past, and I would love to. Like maybe I can actually work on it, like get people, and then like take like a long time to get it out. But like I've had the idea about, I say, people that find a doorway to a different world, but there's this being that is trapped, okay, in this story, and this person is like the arbiter of great destruction and doom, and like they would try to hunt down these people, and like there would be like dimension crossing and stuff, and yeah, no, like maybe one day I could actually work on something like that, because it would be really cool, but it would cost a lot of money to make, but it would be a cool project. It could be a YouTube movie. Uh-oh. Uh, Here, let's just use the dirt to our advantage. And by the way, all these different ideas would be based in horror, just because I do enjoy horror, and it's like another major interest of mine. For those who are not really initiated. So, ooh, there we go. And some of my ideas are like more fantasy based. Some, like there was this idea I had, and I would have loved to actually make it, but again, like it's a little bit of a high fantasy thing. It does take place in the modern day, but like it involves like Spartans. Well, not really Spartans. Well, yeah, actually, like how they look. But there was this idea I had. Like, what if there was like in the sky there was these cloud beings that, well, they're not made of cloud, but they were like people that would like have a ship that would fly through the sky, in the night sky, and they would clash with, how do you say, with other supernatural creatures, while regular people like you and me were like, you know, just existing. Like that was like an idea. I like was like, oh, that would be pretty cool. And they would be sailing for the night sky and would fight creatures. Like these people were like guardians of humanity and the earth itself. Do any of these ideas sound interesting to you, actually? And also for the YouTube audience, if you find this kind of interesting, let me know. If it does, I would really actually appreciate what you guys think of these ideas. I think it would do pretty well. I know not everyone would enjoy it, but it's also for my own personal enjoyment. Sometimes you just have to create something just for you. And don't get me wrong, it is very expensive to make something that you genuinely are passionate about, but like that's just kind of the cost of making stuff that you really do care about, not for other people but for yourself, is like something that it is a bit of a gamble kinda, but it's also like if you have like enough love for what you want to make, like that can show more, and people do appreciate, like, you have a genuine love for what you're making. And it can apply to anything. Not just movies, but shows, comic books, music, art in general. Like, that's the one thing that unfortunately doesn't, like, because of like generative AI, for example, and I mean it's a great example of this. Like, there are some people who unfortunately don't really recognize it, and then they allow and permit this kind of crap to, exist. So, I do think that, like, when we embrace generative AI and other things like that, we are, like, morals and ethics are not the, like, they are very similar, but they are technically two different things. Like, for people who, well, okay, actually, before I go on that tangent, I should probably say this. Morals are more of like your own personal convictions, right? But when it comes to ethics, ethics is more shared broadly across like society. So there's like work ethics, and then there's like your personal morals of what you believe, and you act upon those morals. You're like, if you are going to be working at a certain place of work, or like you have like, there's like a religious thing that you have to do, like there's like certain ethics that you need to follow. Lawyers have to follow them, clergymen, people in government, like that's just how it kind of is. And to be clear, that is a very broad generalization, but that's how you can break it down for those who are uninitiated to like understanding that kind of, thing. But anywho, like, I think that when you permit, like, when you allow this kind of stuff to happen, it's you are allowing for the decay of art, and by extension like civilization, if we, you know, give up one of the most like important features, I would say, in like what makes a civilization great. You can have great how do you say, you can have great economy, you can have a great military, you can have like all this other stuff, right? But if you don't also have like, you know, the people, the people, like you didn't have your Michelangelos, or you didn't have your, well, I know I'm like calling upon like great artists from like Italy, but that's like a great example. Michelangelo, Dante, like all these people, artists of all different sorts. Oh no. Oh my god. You know, actually, to kind of talk about like, um, I know I talk about like when I was in school a lot, like when I was in public education a lot. I know I do that a lot. It's probably annoying to some of you, but like, you know, this is an example when it comes to like writing. Well, no, it was not. Well, yes, I would write, yes, but there was also like moments where I would dictate, and then a person would write for me. I do think like that is like, you know, something that people will do, of course. I'm kind of the mind of like, oh, I have to like verbally say, and then like, you know, no. I think Stephen King actually, like, in his later years, you know, had his wife, like, he would say, and then she would type. But, yeah, like, in middle school, there was this story that I came up with. Like, my tutor would help me in middle school. and this would be at like the end of how you say, the end of the day, and like the certain people that needed help, they would stay a little bit longer, and that was a whole thing. But anywho, there was this idea I came up with, and then I said to my tutor, and we were pretty close. I said, "Hey, could you like write what I say, because I have this really cool story." And like like I thought originally, like, oh, she wouldn't say yes, but surprisingly she did. And like she would pull out this like Google Doc, and then like I would, you know, start explaining, well, no, not explaining, but saying the story through, and like she would type it down. And like it was pretty crazy. Like the idea was that, well, maybe I have like a copy, and maybe I can like show it to you guys. It would be really cool if I don't know. It's going to be kind of hard. Maybe I can try to find it. Well, a copy. But like I say this, there's this island. It takes place in a like fictional Earth, like in the medieval past, and this knight needs to, like, how you say, bring down this supernatural spirit god beast that has the head of a goat, the body of a dragon, and has crab claws. I believed I called it Konos. Konos. Like but Konos would like have a K instead of a C. So, that was like a thing that I had. And in the story, if I remember correctly, just give me a sec. Well, in the story, my knight character, he needs some assistance because some of the creatures on this island was very powerful and dangerous, and he reaches out to a spirit who gives him some upgrades in order to fight the creatures on this island. And I remember that, like, one of the really cool things about this story I came up with is that this knight and the spirit he works with, the spirit tells the knight, which I can't really remember the name of the knight because it's been years. It literally has been, no matter of fact, a decade since this. I had this created when I was in middle school. Like, I was like one of the kids in the back that, of course I've talked about like my love of monsters. I've talked about that, yeah. And also like stories in general. But no, like this creature, the monster, is a member of the Fallen. And the Fallen, like, I didn't talk too much about like the specifics of what that means, but like it was a very powerful spirit. Not really what you would say is a god, but is close enough to that definition. Oh, I should probably. Oh, I added this. It's okay. It's okay. But no, like this. I say this. I'll just add this. I'll remember just. I'll get rid of this when we get more cobblestone. But anywho, like I remember that eventually, like the spirit helps the character gain enough power to help fight the monster. Like I I believe that I made it so that the spirit could transform into armor and that the knight can use the armor in order to like slay the beast. And eventually the monster dies at the end and the world is saved from, you know, disaster. Like I remember having that and it was like wow. And like my tutor at the time was very proud of me because I came up with this very elaborate story and like you know it was like I it was probably a very stupid idea of mine, but I decided to like print it out and like give multiple, and I mean multiple copies of this story to people like as I was like leaving that middle school. This was in Connecticut. And like probably those people don't remember me, which you know, yeah, it does hurt. Like, you know, I remember them very distinctly, but I don't think they would remember me pretty well. But yeah, no, that was a whole thing. Yeah, very crazy time. I had that monster, and yeah, the idea of a of a giant spirit monster living on this island and is like the leader of a army of spirits that want to take over the world. That was like that was before. Well, like I really said, you know what? I wanted to actually like, you know, I was wanting to be a professional writer, but there was like blocks in the way that caused me to give up on that. And it is really hard to write, like when you are doing things in fiction, you know? Like I remember like writing out these ideas and just for fun. Like that was the one thing. Like when it comes to like when I was in public school, when I graduated high school back in 2021, like I remember like a pastime of mine. Well, like other people, would get on their phone and you know doom scroll on like social media or something. My whole thing, my whole thing back then was like if I was bored, I would simply pull out a piece of paper and then I would start writing out um, like these ideas I had. Write out these ideas of like I say monsters and ancient worlds and stuff like that. That was like, very much me. A lot of my peers did not like understand, and you know what, that's completely fine. I don't know. That's it. As you can probably tell, like a lot of like I say my love of mythology that I grew up with influenced my like how I engage with like not just fiction but also like interests broadly speaking. The thing is with like ancient mythologies is that you can also see it with horror, but you can also like you can actually like pull a, like how you say this. Not in all mythology. Well, most mythological stories. In most mythological stories, there's usually a moral lesson that's being taught. And like obviously like depending on what story you're reading or you're listening to, because a lot of like there's certain world mythologies and even like certain religions out there that are I say like their stories are said orally or written, but if you ever read or listen or anything like that when it comes to like ancient world mythologies, like there are some stories that are giving like a moral lesson, and we also see that too with like how you say you can also see that with like Grimm's fairy tales or other kinds of fairy tales like that where there is like a moral lesson being taught. And when it comes to like something like horror, for example, horror being like a great like you can do a lot of things with horror. And like yeah. I do think that like besides like the slashers and like the Lovecraftian terrors, like I do think like this one thing about horror that is so like interesting, and you see it in like ancient world mythologies and like in fairy tales, is like the idea of, well, especially you can see it in Lovecraft, but when a person or anything, I'm trying to figure out like a better way of putting it, but messing with the unknown and what lives in the unknown is truly terrifying. Like in they say a lot of slasher movies, for example, like there's like some level of purity culture that's like promoted in those kinds of stories, where if like these two people are going to have sex, right, and there's like this whole thing of like, oh, don't have sex and don't take drugs or anything like that. Like if you don't take sex, well, excuse me, if you don't take drugs, you don't have sex, you don't drink or any of that other stuff, like you're going to be more better off than like the other person who might get chopped up, by some slasher, right? And it's like that's the one thing that I can say, wow, that is, well, I might just sound like a bumbling, rambling fool to all of you, because like I really hope you guys are like getting what I'm trying to say. But like you can extract like moral lessons from a lot of horror stories, a lot of, well, not all horror stories, but a lot of them, and also like from world mythologies. And when it comes to like the stories I was just talking about, there isn't like really a moral lesson, but it's just like these ideas that are like, oh, that would be really cool. There was like another idea I had where these people time travel to like address something in the past, and like, they figure out they can like time travel and stop like a terrible like historical event from happening. But when they get back home, they have something known as time juice, and the time juice is, I say, it's an invisible thing. Well, not really invisible, but it's only visible to people who can time travel, who have time traveled. And when they time travel back, well, to everyone else who hasn't time traveled, they won't be able to see it. But for the people that do time travel, they will see like the time travels. Excuse me. The time juice. Sorry, I had to look at that. But no, the how do you say this? The monster. There's a monster in this always. Well, not always, but there would be these monsters that are attracted to things covered in this time ooze, and it would make like the thing that is, having this, I say, ooze on them, like it makes them more like drawn to the person to eat them. Like that's like kind of the whole thing. So I'm sorry, I just saw like someone unfollowed, and then I was like, oh. I'm not gonna try to get beat up too much about it, but it's like, you know, kind of brings down my spirits a little bit. But, that's completely fine. Yeah. But, okay. Is there anything else I should say on that thing? No. No, I think I'm good. I think that's enough of me talking about, like, my, you know, mythological story stuff. Yeah. I think that'll be enough. Well, not just mythological, but fantasy, sci-fi. I don't really. I don't like. People consider me funny, like in my personal life, but like, I don't think I'm like truly able to like make all these like funny jokes off the fly or anything. Like, I don't think I could ever see myself doing comedy. But you know, yeah. Actually, speaking of comedy, I remember, um, well, it is music based too, but it's also like not exactly as well. I remember listening and also watching uh, Bo Burnham, and I remember mm, watching like his special um, Inside, and I remember like I enjoyed the music, and I also really enjoyed the special itself, but also like re-looking back into it, not gonna lie, it really does like pull on my heartstrings a little bit, and a little bit too much personally. It's a good piece of media, and also like a really good you know brings, well, it inspires certain emotions in me. Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, it's good. Some of the like lyrical content does make me a little bit depressed, but and also like the thing too is that it came out in 2020, and like it feels like a century ago when talking about like 2020, but like, to see like how culture has changed since then, it's kind of made me say, wow, that's pretty crazy that this was not too long ago. I mean, there was like a lot of, and I mean a lot of things happening in the world. Yeah. Also, some really iconic songs too. All right. Anywho, let's just keep going. Yeah, but that's the one thing. I'm gonna try not to let that like bring me down. But we are doing pretty good. We are doing pretty good on this. Like, look at that. This will probably, like, after I collect all the cobblestone I need for this, that's probably when I'll end the stream. But I was just, I'm just gonna keep going at this. Get more and more cobblestone. So, that will be, that'll probably, like, mm, that'll probably be what I will be doing for the rest of the stream. But look at this. We're doing so great. I don't know the likelihood of me returning to this cave will be after this, like, we get this project done. But look, we could always explore this place. By the way, when I was talking about like the horror section, or like when it comes to moral lessons, I don't think I did it like talked about it well, way too well. But I hope you guys were understanding what I was trying to say. And again, after the stream is done, I will upload it to YouTube directly, immediately afterwards. Just because that's just what I'm gonna do. All right. There we go. You know, when it comes, I know it's like extremely early and there's no use even bringing it up. But when it comes to Halloween, later this year in October, I'm going to reuse my vampire, yes, but I'm also going to make this werewolf like creature thing. That would be pretty cool. So a werewolf would be really awesome. Alright, we're almost done. I probably might just call it quits after this. Alright. Yeah, let's keep going. Onward and forward. I try to say that, and not really, get caught up in stuff, but get just caught up in life and everything. Sometimes, like, I do wish that I could, like, go to the moon or something and just, like, isolate up there sometimes. Just because. I think that would be, like, a better... Well, no, not better, but, like, I don't know. People are a bag that I just can't really deal with sometimes. Alright. Give me a sec. Alright, that'll be it for today's stream. This will go up right now after the stream, so I hope you guys had a great time enjoying the stream. I very much appreciated having you guys here, and I hope you guys found what I was talking about today interesting. to say the least. And yeah, you have a great night, day, wherever you are in the world, or whenever you're watching this over on YouTube. So, yes. All right. Take care. Until next time.